스타크래프트2 최초의 팀 리그 GSTL February. 최고의 GSL 리거를 보유한 8개 팀 출격. 최초의 우승컵을 향해 달립니다. 이제 내가 아닌 팀의 명예를 걸고 싸운다. GSTL February. 스타크래프트2 최고의 영예는 과연 어느 팀에게 돌아갈 것인가? 최초의 우승컵을 놓고 벌이는 치열한 승부를 지금 시작합니다.
Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to the GSTL. Commentating with Tastes and Artosis. Tastosis, Artosis, it's been a week since we commentated together. It's good to be back here today doing our first big Korean team league.
I am very excited, Tasteless, because I tell you what, I missed everyone at home.
Yeah, we missed
you guys. I missed the GSL. I missed StarCraft 2 commentary. And we are going to have an amazing battle, as you see, StarTale against fOu.
Should be pretty excellent. As you see, we're bringing our players out now. Basically the coach is going to pick out which players are going to go forward in this. Your player gets eliminated, he can't play anymore. Then they got to pick the next guy to throw in. A lot of strategy involved in how they're going to go about doing this. Who do you put in first? Do you put in your best player first? Because, let's say that player eliminates somebody, he gets to stay in the tournament.
Yeah.
Or at least in the match, and then they have to bring somebody else out. Do you take your weaker players first and hope that they can maybe get a kill early on? We're going to find out what kind of strategies they have approaching this tournament right now.
Well, there's a lot of fun intricacies on the way this team league is done, Tasteless.
Yes.
For instance, you don't have a preordained order of players.
Right,
you get to choose as you go forward. And that makes it pretty exciting because that means, oh, this guy's style counters that guy's style? Okay. Bam, there you go. Oh, he's good against him in particular. They practice together. He knows his style. Oh, this guy's weak against Protoss. I have a good Protoss here. All sorts of reasons like that make this a really exciting and fun team league. A lot of this will come down to not just how good the players are, but the person making decisions, do they actually have a strong understanding of their players and their players' styles and what those styles are going to be. And on some teams, that's going to be absolutely yes. On some teams, that's going to be no, I'm sorry, you don't.
As you can see, here's our lineup from StarTale. Quite a serious
Jelizer. A lot of great players here.
Go Boogie, Curious, let's see, that's Ace, and Bomber. And of course, their final shot is going to be the coach.
Bomber, of course, a lot of you have heard about him. He didn't make it through. That is Fancy. Used to be on Easter. Used to live with that guy for over a year. I know him quite well.
Tosis, we both know these players pretty well.
Yeah.
I was surprised he didn't make it farther in the GSL. Now, of course, we have some facts here about the StarTale team.
Yep.
They have quite a lineup. Jelizer and Rainbow alone are impressive players. But
Indeed.
Of course, they have some very strong new players that were from StarCraft 1.
That's right.
That Rainbow and July. Rainbow, one of the best harass-based, actually, if not the best harass-based Protoss of all time. Him, and then, of course, Jelizer, one of the three greatest. Yeah, one of the three greatest Zergs of all time. So. That's pretty good. So going to StarCraft 2, those are going to be two of their strongest players. But I think StarTale is one of these teams that overall has a pretty strong lineup.
Yeah, it has a solid lineup overall. Of course, Ace and Squirrel quite good. The other players, they're good, but I think Bomber might actually be one of the very best on the team.
He's sort of a dark horse in this situation.
He didn't even make Code A, but don't let that fool you. I mean, those qualifiers are hard. They're very random at times.
Well,
and,
we
great players do get knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly had some players that were in Code A that were simply in Code A because they did well in GSL Season 1, and that's way before the game had really developed to where it is today, and it's going to continue to develop. But enough about that. Let's take a look at our other team over here. It's going to be Team fOu.
That's right, and here comes their roster. Right here we have Twilight fOu and SC fOu. The best fOu, but he's not the best in fOu. Gumiho, the random player fOu. Crane fOu. Nuclear fOu. Oh, he was going to slap us.
He's lucky to hurt.
Just a picture, and fOu.
Looked like it was started out as a picture, but then it slowly turned into a video. These guys really impressed us during Season 3 of the GSL. So that was about 2 GSLs ago. The first one, or the final one we had before we ended up with the Code A and Code S, there were so many fOu's dominating. We didn't really expect them to do as well as they did. They were a big StarCraft 1 old school team and just switched over to StarCraft 2, and they actually turned out to be pretty damn good.
Indeed, they did. Here are our GSL players for them. We have 3 Code S players, the best, Choya and SC. And then in Code A, Leenock, a huge upset being knocked down to Code A from Code S. So pretty solid lineup of players there. And the last team invitational, they got 6th place, so didn't do so well there.
No, they didn't do as well as we, well, I guess we had hoped for them. But, you know, the teams that are also in the team league then and currently today are pretty strong. And I have to say, I think fOu is a little bit of an underdog, but I wouldn't be shocked if they still managed to win this. They have some very strong players, and they kind of have their own style.
Yeah, you know, they certainly do that. Tasteless, a lot of them very stylistic in the way they play. Like, you can't watch Leenock not play a long ZVT. You can't watch Choya play a long P versus anything.
Yeah, you have no idea what that guy's going to do. He's got his own crazy play style.
Yeah.
So, again, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on the first GSL Team League.
Yeah.
GSTL, excuse me.
Pistol.
I've said GSL so many times, I'm not quite good at actually spitting it out. So, again, it's great to be back here with you guys. We look forward to casting many more team leagues for you in the future as StarCraft 2 progresses and takes over esports. Again, I'm Tasis. With me is Artosis. And it's been a week. We had a little week off here for Lunar New Year.
It felt like 5 weeks for me, Tasteless.
Actually, yeah, it felt like a really long time, considering how much we've been casting before. Yeah. And
went from 6 days a week to no days and 6.
I've changed a lot since then. I dyed my hair black, and then it didn't occur to me if I wear.
It looks very good, by the way.
Thank you. It didn't occur to me if I wear a black T-shirt and a black blazer, then with my black hair, it looked like I should be hosting a show about vampires. So I guess I learned my lesson on that one.
Tasteless,
I'm a dark guy.
The recent trends in popular American culture.
That's true. You
may as well look like that because you're actually going to get a lot of fans.
They got a lot of vampire stuff. I understand in the States these days.
That's right.
I've been here for 3 years. I'm totally out of the loop with American culture.
Well, I don't know about you, Tasteless, but I wear the fake tail to show that I'm part of the werewolf team or something.
So, again, this is pivotal here. This first game for these guys here. By the way, before I go any further about that, here's the tournament info. Important note, the prize money, the champion team with what is essentially $10,000. Yeah, second place, $5,000.
Now, we have 8 teams playing fOu, TSL, IM, StarTale, Prime.we, OGS-TL. They're going to be combining into one team for this. Xenix and Slayers. Of course, this is just a bracket style. It's only going to be this week only, 4 days, and there you go. Today we're going to have StarTale versus fOu and Prime.we against TSL. Then, of course, tomorrow we're going to have OGS against IM and Xenix against Slayers. Exciting matches, all of them.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. This is, the starting point for a very important section of StarCraft 2 esports, the team leagues. As many of you know, the StarCraft 1 league is very popular. So we're looking forward to making these popular as well.
Now, we have some new maps. We're going to keep Shakuras Plateau, Scrap Station, Metalopolis, Lost Temple, and Zelnaga Caverns. Good choices, all good maps. Then we're going to add in Crossfire, SE, Terminacery, Taldarim Altar, and Crevasse. Or Crevice. Whichever way you want to say
Crevasse, if you want to sound kind of sophisticated. That's when you cast the map. Now, here are the new maps. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these.
Now, Crossfire, as it says here, narrow passages and lots of hills, beneficial to control the Zelnaga towers in many ways to the opponent's base.
Many ways to the opponent's base. It's definitely a very
Marine King Prime map, maybe.
Yeah, Marine King Prime might like that. Of course, here's our next map, Crevasse. Easy to fast expand, difficult to expand in the mid game, somewhat similar to Jungle Basin.
2-base unit composition is crucial. Now, if I were to believe these things written on here, I would say that this is not a good map for Zerg, but by looking at the map, doesn't look all that bad.
Not as bad as Jungle Basin, I would say.
Now, Taldarim Altar. Fast expansion is preferable. Battle is most likely to occur in the plains. And economy and production is crucial.
So that's going to be a pretty interesting map. We haven't seen too much of these maps really at all, so we're going to be learning them with you guys. Here's our final map.
Easy to second expand. Drop play is preferable and hard to defend the second expansion. All right.
I'm sure when they say hard to defend the second expansion, they mean the third base. Yeah. So, that's probably what that means there. So, guys, we're really excited to have these new maps here in the tournament. We know that some of the players and some of the people watching had some experiences on the previous maps where they were just like, man, this is really, really, really tough. I don't feel like it's easy for my matchup. I don't feel like it's easy for my race. And GOM TV, we've been pretty receptive down here to that kind of, criticism. So we put new maps in here. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they affect the metagame.
I definitely want to see how these maps do turn out. Definitely better than the maps they're replacing. There's just no question on that.
Oh, absolutely.
The maps they're replacing really get lopsided one way or the other. I think that these maps are going to make for much more interesting games. We will learn a lot about the maps as we watch this and play these maps a little bit more.
These aren't really ladder maps or anything like that. So, including Artosis and myself, don't have a ton of experience on these maps. We spent some time looking over them. If you play enough StarCraft 1 going into StarCraft 2, you can kind of make some calls on, all right, it looks like the
I spent a while looking them over, and I have to say I think all the maps are going to be better than the maps they're replacing. Like, I know I already said that, but seriously, this is going to be a much more fun map pool.
All right, let's take a look at our players now. We're going to throw those up on the screen for you. Here is our first guy.
There he is. I think that's Squirtle.
That leave.
Pretty sure. With a perm. Yes, it is.
Squirtle. Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't recognize his new hair.
SD Go Boogie, that's Squirtle.
Now he made it.
Plenty of Pokemon jokes coming your way, guys.
That's right, guys. Get ready for those. The GSL results, he made it to the round of 16.
Code A.
In Code A.
Pretty good Protoss player.
That's no small accomplishment.
It's no small feet, Tasteless.
No small feet at all.
Those are feet almost as big as Tasteless's feet.
I got big feet, man.
He's got
can't even get shoes to fit me out here. Oh, over here.
Oh,
we have our other player.
Yeah.
Yep, that is.
So Gumiho, he was our random player that made it into GSL before. Did not very impressively, unfortunately. It's very hard to actually play random. Little trick.
No kidding, especially with the game this new.
Yeah, no. It's if you are a random player, your opponent should basically just sit there and defend because he knows the late game much better than you.
Yeah.
A little tip for those of you out there who would like to be random players: spend time on each race individually, or you will never know a matchup deep enough to be a successful random player.
Yeah, exactly. And you might even want to play the same map multiple times with that race to really get a feel for the timings of it. Some people are able to get away with playing random because they have a good game sense. But the best random players in the world are the ones who make the right decisions in situations they've never seen before, usually in the mid-game and the late game, where they go, oh, this is weird, And speaking of which, our first map is going to be on Shakras Plateau.
Yep.
Now remember, if you're a player who's a race picker, like almost every, 99.9% of competitive and professional gamers, you never play against random.
Pretty much never. There's
never do
very few random players on the Korean server. There are a handful.
The countdown started, and it wouldn't shock me. That's the reason why, by the way, this guy was picked, the random player to go first. Could take some games off the opposing team pretty soon here. But enough of that. The countdown's begun. Let's get ready for the GSTL. Whoops, looked like we had a little bit of a drop there. We're just going to restart the game, guys. Sit tight.
Indeed.
Nobody panic. Put down that paper bag you're probably breathing in. You don't need to freak out.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Gumiho got Zerg that game.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
Actually, that is the only real interesting
factor. He pulls a plug until he gets what he wants. No.
It's like, this is a Protoss, just takes it out.
Yeah.
No, this has been happening a little bit since Season 3. Just some bugs that, are going to be...
I would love to...
I think it actually might also sometimes be our network as well.
You actually said something very interesting, very true that I'd like to go over before we start this game, which is going to start in a few seconds, I'm sure. Putting the random player first is a great idea because if you're going to choose someone to counter the player that was just there, like, I know what I lose to, a random... No, that doesn't actually make sense. Like, he might have a weak matchup, but random, you kind of do a fail-safe, stop all races, everything build. Like, for instance, wall in...
Yeah.
Go pool first. Go.
Well, plus the coach
on top of ramp.
Yeah, the coach is even going to know who to put in next. There's no right or wrong way to take on a random player. So I think this is really smart.
That is where you need to put a random player.
Yeah.
if you want to kill a random player as one of these coaches, you're going to want to put in a solid. If Gumiho wins, he should just put in a solid defensive player.
Our countdown's begun, so let's get ready once again for our first team game here at the GSTL with Tasis and Artosis. Tastosis, the casting Archon. What a treat. We're going to cast this for our first team league here in Korea. It's a real pleasure. So the game's loaded, and when our Korean commentators are ready to put that on screen, we're going to go ahead and do that. Yep. All right. Here we are. Our first player in the red. Spawning as Protoss. He is
StarTale 꼬부기.
That's right. Squirtle.
And now, to our other player who spawned as Terran. Look at the shot of Squirtle there. Our other player spawning as Terran. Note, he's the only random player really in the Korean professional scene pausing the game. Something makes me think we're not going to get that.
He's like, I'm not Protoss yet. All right.
We had a quick pause.
I'm sure it's just some technical difficulty. Probably his sound doesn't work, something like that. Should be.
You
got to
make sure you have everything set up perfectly.
You do.
Going into these things. If your mouse speed isn't right, we do give the players a chance to do that. So hopefully it's not something that's going to get him DQ'd. I doubt that'll be the case.
No. They don't want to. No one wants that, Tasteless.
Nobody wants that.
We got to sit down at the negotiation table and figure out how to make this right.
We want to make it right with you. Now, okay, let's just start talking about this right off the bat before we introduce our other player. He spawned as Terran.
Yep.
In interesting spots for Terran versus Protoss.
Yeah, you can go through that back pathway. I would not necessarily expect that, though. Now, again, going back to the way a top-level random player is going to try to play, again, the thing is, as a random player, you get 1/3 as many games as other players get with their races.
Right.
So you see, the longer the game goes, the less often you've something with his sound, by the way, is the problem as anticipated. But the longer the game goes, the less times you've actually seen that situation with that race.
Exactly.
The less experienced you are, the worse your decisions are going to be. So random players normally are going to really focus on very specific rush-based aggressive play because they can practice that more in the early game from both sides.
Yeah, and of course you have much more experience with the blind. I wouldn't call it pure cheese, but it's basically your opponent, for instance, might not know if he wants to fast expand or one base.
Yeah, and
you get in a situation like that, you can actually open up into a situation that's going to make it very advantageous for you. And in those early parts of the game, the random player actually has more experience than the individual that picked his race.
And here's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize. At the beginning of a new game, like when it comes out, and you remember this if you've been playing StarCraft 2 and keeping track of it since the beta, the more aggressive you are, the more success you're going to have early in a game. Because if you are always doing aggressive attacking builds, you're actually gaining more information in those in an unknown game, in unknown scenarios. You're finding out, okay, how can I attack to actually kill him just right? And you're doing that over and over and over. On the other hand, if you're a defensive player, you have to play against all sorts of different styles that are all going to be slightly different attacks. They might be defensive as well. And it takes a lot longer to map out defensive-based play, longer gameplay.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Just much, much longer to actually map that out. So all this really points towards Gumiho doing 1 or 2 base all-inish type strategies.
That's what I would expect.
If he makes a 3rd basis game, I would be pretty impressed. I'd be like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I'm surprised he did that.
The best type of player, if you're a random player to go against, is a player who's stereotypically aggressive. When he plays against the opposing races, because then he doesn't get a chance to actually play against whatever you're going to put against him. Now, I believe we might have gotten the sound issue resolved. I guess
still
not
working
yet.
on that.
Still working on that. So here's a shot of our players.
Yep.
And look, that's Torch in the middle.
Yep. Not on the roster. Sorry, guys, you're not going to see him play.
I'm down here to support the team.
That's right. Giving him shoulder rubs.
Rubbing elbows with him. And, of course, here's fOu. So bit of a tense moment here as we've sort of started this up. I think everybody, whether it's the viewers, you and me, or the players, is kind of ready to get this going. And, everybody was like, all right, the gates are open. It's on. And then we have this technical problem.
Yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't
The chariot just was not attached right.
It was not.
The tires, gates and
the tires were not put on the race car right, man. And once we get that sorted out, hopefully this won't cause a hiccup in the concentration of these two players.
Well, I think it already did. You get really pumped up before a match like this. When the countdown's coming, you're actually going like this and stuff. You're like, get yourself pumped up. You're clapping like a seal, looking for some fish.
There you go, man.
And then suddenly the game's paused, and you're like, and no one's giving you a fish. You haven't been able to clone your probes.
You don't have a little ball to play with. You know, it's
You have anything, man.
it's rough. You say, what, is SeaWorld closed? You realize, oh, I'm a seal inside a SeaWorld. My life's not so good.
Well, you get a lot of free fish. You don't have to try too hard. You're never going to get eaten by a killer whale either.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
That is
actually the seal life is a hard life, Tasteless. You live on a rocky shore. There's so many seals. It's so loud. Have you ever actually watched the Discovery Channel?
I have watched that. And you see the killer whale come out.
Oh.
And he's like, ah! And he's got his look. You
ever see that little island down off of South Africa with the sharks? Where like the seal's jumping and the great white comes out after?
Yes. That is
Forget being a wild seal. I want to be a SeaWorld seal.
You've actually convinced me.
Yeah.
I think it's better. I wouldn't want to be one of those killer whales because their fins go like that. If they're
those are sad. Yeah. Well, a killer whale isn't going to get killed anyways. What's going to kill a killer whale? You joking me, Tasteless?
So we're still
it takes like a submarine to take out one of those things.
So, no
it's
kidding.
A killer whale, Tasteless.
It's pretty badass name. So we're still waiting for this sound issue to be fixed. Hopefully it'll be fixed pretty soon.
Yeah, I think we're just about ready here. Yeah.
It looks like he's
saying they're ready.
He's going to be okay. They both give confirmation.
There we go.
All right.
It is time. I know it'll take a second, though, so keep looking at me. They're cloning their SCPs and probes.
So the game has started. I guess they're just going to see to make sure that the game sound in his headphones is okay and everything like that, and then we're going to probably put that up on screen for you guys. And I think we're going to get that now. Okay. You know, it would be actually a terrible thing. Imagine if your headset is too loud and it's actually hurting your ears.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, my God, okay, we actually need to turn this down.
I've had that before.
Yeah, I've had
that before commentating and playing. Now, already sending a scout, that's what you need to do. You need to do a very fast scout against random.
This is a bad start right now for our random player who ended up rolling a Terran.
You want to be scouted as late as possible. You see, the probe has already scouted him. So if he was planning against Terran to make a pylon above his ramp, which 99% chance he was before the game, suddenly he's really not behind at all. The being random has really done nothing for Gumiho this game.
By the way, guys, we do apologize for the technical delay. We just want to make sure these guys are playing under the best possible circumstances.
We're very sorry.
I'm trying to bake you guys a cake. Something to make it up for you guys. Can you say that one more time, Artosis?
Very, very sorry.
Very sorry. What is that from?
It's just me acting like in a sad, pitiful voice saying I'm sorry. You know, I got the puppy dog eyes and like the little frowny, the overdramatic frowny on my face. Making sure that they understand that really I'm sorry and I hope they forgive me and they feel pity, and they do.
By the way, it looks like Terran, is that 2 racks?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, starting out with some 2 racks might put a little bit of pressure on his opponent, but
I think he's probably going to go to the back. It wouldn't shock me.
Interestingly enough, back in the Protoss space, notice no second gas yet. That's interesting because
that's a good
second
point.
gas timing has already come and gone.
And the SCV is there to see it as well.
Yeah, and now against 2 Barracks Marines, what are you going to want? You're going to want a lot of sentries. You want sentries, absolutely. Guardian Shield is amazing against Marines, and of course Force Field will keep the Marines out of your base. So I'm interested to see what Squirrel's real plan is here. It looks like he's just going to start pumping out some Stalkers, and obviously they have more range. You might be able to micro quite strongly against the Marines, but I don't know. I like the sentry style instead, Tasteless. I'm addicted to sentries against Terran, though.
Oh, well, sentries, sentries are not the hardest unit to use, but once you start getting really good at shooting out those force fields, it's insane the stuff you can do. And this is actually not a rush build at all. This is actually a 2 racks build where you follow that up with a fast expand. So he's trying to keep
very fast expansion.
The Protoss a little bit off kilter here.
What he's trying to do is get the slowest gas that he possibly can, which is actually working out for him.
Yeah.
By not getting the gas, if you want to go a very fast expansion against Protoss, ooh, look at this, catching that Stalker.
And I think the Stalker will barely get away, and it does.
That's right.
Make sure not to be gender specific, he or she. Don't know what kind of gender the Stalker is.
Actually, I think we do. Aren't there no Protoss women, or am I wrong?
Well, I am what are you telling me? You heard the mothership talk?
Okay, I'm sorry. I forget. I haven't played the StarCraft single player in a while. Anyways, basically Gumiho is trying to get the latest gas possible. He's just gotten his gases now. That really allows a lot more economy mineral-wise for you.
Yeah. Scouting SCV here will not get through the grass. This one turns around, says, I want to keep this mineral.
Gumio's like, bring that mineral back, you thief.
What are you doing walking around the map with that glowing mineral? He says,
Probably put him to work on the mineral mines now.
Yeah.
Stalker scene aren't going to be able to do anything.
All right. Warp gates are done. So both these guys playing with pretty conservative builds. Just going for quick expands. Playing this a little bit like it's a, metagame in StarCraft 1.
Yep. Now, I'm interested to see what style Squirtle is going to go into here. Of course, MC has shown us against Fast Expansion Terran you can get something like 9 to 12 sentries off of 6 warp gates and oftentimes go up force field behind the bunkers and just be like, LOL as you kill him.
Yeah, basically.
So, we'll have to see if he's going to keep that style.
Force field has sort of made bunkers much less effective for Terran.
Oh, certainly.
And, I think Terran's in sort of a difficult situation where it's like, do I actually wall my entire self in? Do I have a bunch of bunkers in the front? How do I get the SCVs over there to repair them in time?
Yeah.
It's an interesting situation.
It is that tasteless. We have a factory on the way, as you see on the production tab. And I'm interested to see what style Gumio is actually going to go for here. Is he just going to go Marine Marauder Medevac and attack? Is he going to do something a little bit out there? Sometimes players who play random do like to do sort of a kind of out there, weird, aggressive attack.
Well, if you're a random player and you do something that's pretty out there, there's almost no way ever for your opponent to be prepared for it, especially if you do something weird in the mid and late game instead of transitioning into sort of ordinary play style.
We do have a lot of gates being made for our Protoss player. He's going to go up to 5 gates. Does have a lot of sentries out, so it's possible we could see one of those.
I think he's going to do an MC timing attack here.
Could be. Right now, as you see there's one bunker and a bunch of Marines, so the force field's obviously going to do a great job there. And
we just saw a pylon being planted outside of his base, so it is going to be a 2-base timing attack.
It's beginning to look that way. Ooh, a siege tank. That actually helped out greatly.
Oddly enough,
siege mode is on the way.
He's going to push out here. This could be bad.
Yeah, the thing is, if you use perfect force fields and guardian shields here, it could be bad, but right now he doesn't have a huge army. Interesting timing by Gumio to move out.
Oh, he's going to come down here to the lower part of the army here. Now we could have a sandwich here. Force field is up.
And trapping the Marines in there, but there may be enough Marines anyways. The Stalker's coming up from behind. It looks like Gumio going to be in a lot of trouble here, Tasteless.
And I got to say, with the Guardian Shield, those sentries not going to die to the Marines anytime soon. And, guess what? There's no bunker there.
There's going to be a tank with siege mode. That's going to help a lot.
That could actually force the Protoss to turn around. Let's see, though. I think if Protoss commits, he could easily... well, actually, I don't know. I mean, he's going to have to get vision of that siege tank if he wants to win this.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of damage to these SCVs, though. The Zealots coming in. Perfect choice there. Let the Zealots tank the damage. Tank now targeting the sentry. He realizes, I have to be careful here. If you lose all those sentries, that is not a good thing. It is never good to let your sentries die. Always try to run those away. When your army is down to just sentries, that's when you know it's time to turn around.
One siege tank managed to allow Gumi to stay in this game for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to come back and win this.
Supply-wise, right now, it's 57 for our Protoss, 46 for our Terran, with only 24 SCVs for our Terran and 37 probes for our Protoss. So definitely killed a lot of the economy of Gumiho. But again, if he had just pulled back a little bit quicker with those sentries, he would be in a much better shape than he is now.
Here comes a drop into the Protoss' main base. He's going to go for some probes.
No stim quite yet.
Stim not?
No, he hasn't even started.
No, but yeah, I was about to say, no stim even started. I wonder if that's a mistake here. So without stim, you really can't do the damage as quickly as you need to. Time is everything when it comes to Marine drops.
Now, a Twilight Council, as you see right there, on the way. Will he be going for Dark Templars, High Templars, Blink, Charge? All of it.
They're all doable.
Yeah, they're all pretty good in this situation.
It makes it tough for the Terran to sort of respond. This is this phase of ambiguity as far as the tech tree goes as to how the Terran is going to play it. I mean, the Protoss is going to play it, rather, excuse me.
Yeah, and any of those would actually be a pretty good choice. I like this drop coming out, Tasis, by Gumiho. Going to try to do a little bit of harassment damage, pushing up from the low ground there, but the Stalkers are ready. By the way, a Dark Citadel is being made, so he's decided on Dark Templars.
DT is not a bad choice when Terran's on 2-base. You can see Terran's probably going to try to win on a 2-base timing push.
Yeah, it looks like he might go through the back there.
Scans the front to see where units are being warped in. They are still in the front, so he might want to unsiege his tank. That's protecting his own front side of the base and start to push forward across those rocks. We'll see, though.
Blue Flame Hellion upgrade on the way, by the way. It's
looks like he's actually switching to mech.
A little bit.
And that can be pretty effective if you suddenly go Hellion tank.
Yeah.
And you know your opponent's basically getting DTs and Zealots with legs.
Yeah, Hellions can do a great job against gateway units. Stalker's the only one that really battles them well. It's funny that we haven't seen a little bit more of them. Now DT's being warped in. We'll have to see. Is he going to send them all at once? It looks like, well, he's going to walk right out of that bunker. That is not good for Gumio. He's in a lot of trouble, Tasteless.
He could split him up perfectly.
Yeah, splitting up one to each mineral line, the other one taking out some units. Gumiho in a lot of trouble right now.
Oh, this actually could be it right here. The amount of damage that will be inflicted.
Yeah, he's taking insane damage right now. A very good punishment.
Now he can still run out of this. He tries to raise the depots to block the DT. That's okay, though. He does stop the DT. Dark Templars continue to do some damage, though. And the question is, Protoss going to try to engage here.
He is indeed. Good force fields, trapping those Marines. He's just got to take these Marines out right now. Charge is almost done.
Charge
almost
looks like it's finishing
done.
a little bit just too late. That is, talk about a difference of seconds here.
That's right. If Charge had been done there, would have been something else. But Gumio's attack here doing a pretty good job. If he does warp in some Dark Templars, that could help out a lot. There is just
nice
one.
Scanning.
Got to use up those scans. Get those Dark Templars in doing damage. He's got no scans left. One more Dark Templar would change this battle right around into Squirtle's favor.
Charge is done, so this is the moment Terran's definitely going to get out. Even picks up some of those Marines. A good decision there. One DT comes forward. Remember, he can one-shot these Marines because he might have damaged Dark Templars too. I don't know if Terran has a mule, actually, or a scan, excuse me, basically the energy saved up for a mule. And I don't know, he does not.
Oh, he's in so much trouble, Tasteless.
So bad for the Terran.
Good job by Squirtle here to realize, you know, the first attack saw, okay, you have siege tanks with siege mode. That's a lot of gas. You're making medevacs. That's a lot of gas. I don't see a missile turret. Hey, why not?
And this is the rarest Pokemon Squirtle could have caught. I mean, a random player who's a very high caliber. So this is just a very exciting moment here at the GSL. Terran stuffed back into his base. Protoss taking a third.
Gumio's in so much trouble, Tasteless. He's completely stuck. He's lost a lot. He's making a Raven. It's almost done, but he's down to 32 SCVs against 50 probes. Squirtle, you know, he's taking that third base, as you mentioned. Starting to get his Templar Archives even. Wow. This is just not the spot you want to be in as Gumio, the random player.
Well, you know what's happening is Protoss is basically completing his entire tech tree here.
Yeah.
He can actually go for anything and do anything. And Protoss have a pretty complex tech tree to complete. You know, to be honest, if not the most complex. But
there are a lot of paths you can go up. A lot of different buildings are required, and he's got a lot of them now. You know, we'll have to see, can he hold this attack into his main base, though?
Looks like he's almost going to give up his main.
Yeah, he's just giving it up and going for a counter. I don't know if that's the best.
I don't know if this is the right decision, considering the advantage he had.
You know, he's trying to get through this tiny little depot right now while he loses a lot of buildings in his main base. But he does have a lot of Zealots in there. Blue Flame Hellion doing a lot of damage. These Blue Flame Tasteless do a lot to those Zealots. But
they do so much. Meanwhile, we have another drop over here, so this could be two locations that are taken out. And let's see here, the Zealots with the charge are making micro in these tanks pretty much useless, and it does look like that is going to be it. The Protoss is going to win this. He's next to the factories and the barracks, so he can kill whatever pops out. And I think we should be expecting GG here. This is somewhat of a risky move.
Well, I got to say, man.
Well, wait a minute. Actually, I didn't think he was losing this much of his base.
It's weird because Gumio has basically stopped him from mining right now.
Yeah.
But he is on top of the production facilities, which, of course, is unbelievably important. Here comes some probes.
Uh-oh.
That's not a good idea.
Don't want to lose those probes.
And there we go. He's going to warp in some units, take care of this, start mining again, but lose a lot of probes in the meantime.
Bit of a weird game.
Tasteless, I don't know. This actually could go to Gumiho. He doesn't have a whole lot of units left.
Well, he'd have to be able to take on the main bulk that the Terran has left over.
Yeah. And he does have still a decent army. You know, he's got some Siege Tanks, he's got some Marines. They don't have Stim, unfortunately. If they did, it would certainly make a big difference.
Yeah, Protoss is barely mining right now.
Yeah, he has lost a lot. He doesn't have huge production facilities.
Terran's chasing him. The question is, can Protoss regroup and make enough? I mean, does he have his gateways? Do you mind checking how many gateways he has? Okay, he has enough gateways that he
has
could.
5 powered gateways right now.
I was going to say, he didn't have any gateways.
It looks like he should have enough to take out everything that is left.
Yeah, I believe he will. He's just taking a few shots here and there at the Terran. Terran basically have to win this next battle or lose the game.
And it looks like Squirtle losing a lot of units in here.
Big mistake there.
But he has a lot of Zealots coming up. That should be more than enough.
That'll be it.
With no Stim, no combat shields.
This is going to be a win for Squirtle here, the member of the team StarTale. Very solid player.
Look at that. Cutesy.
That is cute stuff.
Who's a little cutie pie Terran?
You are Squirtle. Oh, Gumiho, what am I saying? What am I doing?
You're ruining everything.
I'm messing the joke up. So, we're going to have a 1-0 lead here for the team StarTale. fOu is going to have to pick their next player. Do you have any predictions for who that's going to be?
That is hard to say. You know, it's a solid Protoss. They may have a good PvP player they choose to put out.
Think they put Choi out?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know, if I had to guess Tasteless, I wouldn't use a Protoss right now on him. What I would use is a solid Terran. If I was fOu, maybe the best fOu or SC fOu. Because
actually, I hadn't thought of the best.
If you look at that, he actually, although he won, Gumiho is random, and Gumiho actually did not play all that well. It was like an interesting, weird all-in, but I feel like a solid S-class Terran could probably wipe the floor with Squirtle's Protoss versus Terran. So,
well, you know what's weird about what Squirtle did in that game is he basically took this lead he had, and he's like, all right, I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to let him attack me, and I'm going to do a kind of a base trade situation. Which, by the way, we seem to see more and more of. You
know, if you've already killed off a lot of his economy, yeah, that's true. The thing about base trading is if you're not too great at making decisions, you just go for a base trade. It's anybody's game. It's like really a weird situation.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're like, you know, Marine King Prime, and unless you're on somebody like MVP, you know, you might as well do it.
Well, Marine King knows exactly what to do in a base trade.
He's actually like Neo
I feel like Squirtle doesn't quite get that.
Well, Squirtle kind of pulled through with it, but honestly, I would have taken out his SCVs with those DTs like I did, know I'm in the lead, and then just attack that force that's coming at me. I think for some reason he thought his opponent had more units than him, and he didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of interesting way they went about it.
I don't know, just, it's interesting.
I would like to see a Terran player come out, though, as I was saying.
Let's see if Artosis gets what he wants pretty soon here. The team, of course, gets together. They, in this moment of time, say, all right, what are we going to do? Who do we need to put on there to take him out? This is a tough decision. We're down a game. You know, every game counts. I don't want to be down 3 games.
Is that SC? I believe that's SC fOu.
Yeah, that's SC fOu.
I'm so proud of myself.
You're so good.
All right, so it is going to be a pretty solid Terran coming out here. I feel like with a much more refined build, a much more solid way of playing. Squirtle looks like he might be in some trouble, Tasteless.
Well, I would be shocked if Squirtle managed to beat SC fOu. SC fOu is a little bit more consistent, but you never know. If Squirtle wins this game, fOu is in a lot of trouble. Because if Squirtle wins that, then he's already done enough damage.
Yeah.
To where it's like it's okay for him to lose.
You know, yeah, it is always important to win as many games as you can in this situation.
Yeah.
Choya coming in, maybe giving him some
Choya
tips.
wearing our blazer right now.
Yeah.
He's got a Tastosis blazer on, looking pretty sharp.
Pretty sharp, maybe not as sharp as you and I, but pretty sharp indeed.
It could be as sharp as you and me, Artosis, but
we're sharper than a thumbtack, Tasteless.
A really sharpened thumbtack.
We're sharper than a shark's tooth.
Ooh, those are sharp, man.
They're very sharp.
Here's our players head-to-head. The map is going to be Crossfire, our first time casting Crossfire. Perhaps your first time seeing
Yeah, I think a lot of
Crossfire.
people probably have not played this map yet. I admit that we haven't played, but we've been looking at them quite a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely. We just really haven't had the opportunity to play it very much. It's so new. It's of course not in the ladder. So
Created by Ragnarok Valkyrie. Didn't he make a lot of StarCraft 1 maps?
actually, yeah, I believe that he
I
did.
believe that he did. That is interesting.
Ragnarok.
That guy's just
Not a
like,
very
guess
popular
who's the best map maker? He just like trots in and makes StarCraft 2 maps.
We appreciated making that map. It's awesome.
I bet that guy's the sickest dungeon master.
Oh, I bet, man. He is the best dungeon master, Joseph. Ragnarok, by the way, a pretty uncommon, not as popular game.
It's old. It's very old.
Old game, and of course, the Valkyrie, the least used unit in StarCraft 1, except for maybe the Ghost, the Ambassador. So, before we go any further, guys, we're going to have a little interview with the coaches and see what their thoughts are thus far.
뭐 이번은 각오는 무조건 결승 가서 우승한다는 목표고요. 그러기 위해서는 저희 팀의 그 주전 선수들이 전력을 다해서 나가서 좀 이겨줘야 되기 때문에 뭐 돌려서 엔트리를 내거나라는 것보다는 그냥 그 정면 승부로 할 생각입니다. 좀 좋은 경기, 재밌는 경기로 좀 많이 보답을 할 테니까 팬분들 좀 많이 찾아와서 응원도 열심히 해주시고 그 다음에 박진감 넘치는 경기 와서 많이 보시고 응원 열심히 해주셨으면 감사하겠습니다. 네.
아무래도 저희 같은 경우에는 요번에 또 에이스 카드 하나가 못 나오다 보니까 그 선수의 공백을 좀 메우는 거에 신경을 좀 썼고요. 예, 뭐 가급적 좀 스나이핑이라면 스나이핑일까 뭐 그런 것도 준비 좀 했고요. 고병재 선수가 선봉으로 나오는데 고병재 선수가 사고를 치면 크게 치겠고요. 뭐 그 밖에도 여러 선수들이 있으니까요. 아직까지 뭐 이렇게 누구를 특별하게는 보다는 저희는 아무래도 평준화가 좀 돼 있는 팀이라 예, 비슷할 것 같습니다.
All right, well, I actually really liked the fOu coach's interview there. He was very grounded. Said, you know what? Our players are all good. They're all well-rounded. And we should do well. But unfortunately for Gumiho, if he didn't feel bad enough already for his loss, then he has to sit through that interview.
His coach may say, well, hopefully Gumiho does well because it's all kind of hinged on that. The countdown's begun, so let's get ready for game number 2 here with these two awesome teams here at the GSTL with Cases and Artosis. Peace, Dosis.